Hi, teacher. We are going to present a summary of the lumber room. Nicholas, a young boy, lives with his aunt, who is actually the aunt of his cousin, but claims that she is also Nicholas' aunt. He went to eat his breakfast of bread and milk because he says there is a frog in it. She tells him to stop making up crazy stories because a frog can be in his food. Nicholas, on the other hand, has put the frog in his own breakfast bowl and is happy to show that his aunt was wrong when she said it couldn't be done. Nicholas' aunt punishes him for not eating his breakfast and for putting a frog in it by sending his boy cousin, girl cousin, and younger brother on a trip to Jaguaro while Nicholas stays home. This is a way that the aunt likes to punish people. When the kids don't follow her rules, she thinks of fun things to do that they can't do. Nicholas missed the trip, but his aunt thinks that he will be sad about it, but he doesn't seem to be. Instead, when the girl cousin scrapes her knee right before they leave and starts crying, Nicholas is happy to tell the aunt that the girl cried very loudly. Nicholas also says that Bobby won't have a good time on the trip because his boots are too small. The aunt asks why Bobby didn't tell her about this, and Nicholas says that Bobby did tell her twice, but that she often doesn't listen when the kids tell her important things. Nicholas' aunt adds to his sentence by telling him not to go into the gooseberry jar. Nicholas looks like he doesn't want to do what his aunt says, so his aunt thinks he will just ignore her for fun, even though she has other things to do and does simple farming work in the front yard. So she can't catch Nicholas if he tries to sneak into the gooseberry garden. Nicholas pretends to be interested in the strawberry patch by walking by its entrance a few times, and he just wants to make sure that his aunt will keep watching the front yard so that he can go ahead with his real plan.
Now she's out of the way, he runs into the library and finds the key to the lumber room. Adults are the only ones who can go into this room, but Nicholas had been working on a plan to go and look around for a while. Nicholas finds the lumber room to be just as wonderful as he had hoped when he goes in. The rest of the aunt's house is pretty boring, but the lumber room is full of interesting things like a tapestry that shows a hunter shooting and arrowing into a deer, but he doesn't know that four wolves are coming up behind him. Nicholas gets lost in the story the tapestry tells. He wonders if the man and his two dogs will be able to avoid the wolves and if there may be more than four wolves. He also finds a lot of interesting things in the lumber room, like lamps that look like snakes that have been bent and a teapot that looks like a duck. Nicholas' aunt suddenly calls his name and tells him to get out of the blackberry patch because she can't see him there. Nicholas smiles to himself because he knows she's lying. Not longer after that, he hears his aunt scream and calls for help. Nicholas locks the room with the lumber and goes to look in the front yard. His aunt calls him from the blackberry garden to tell him that she has fallen into the rainwater tank. She asks him to bring her a ladder so she can get out, but Nicholas says he has told to stay out of the blackberry garden. The aunt tells him quickly that she has changed her mind and he can go in. Now Nicholas says that she doesn't sound like his aunt and that he thinks the evil one and not his aunt is in the water tank. He asks her if there will be strawberry jam from tea, and when his aunt says there will be, Nicholas saying proudly that he proves it is the evil one in the water tank claiming to be his aunt. The day before, when the kids asked their aunt for strawberry jam, she said there was any. Nicholas says that it's clear She couldn't have known that there were four joints for it in the painter.
Nicholas has looked, so he knew, and the evil one in the water tank also knew, but the ant didn't. Nicholas says that the evil one has revealed himself, and he was away without helping his aunt out of the water tank. After 35 minutes, she is finally saved by a KitchenAid. Later that day, it's quiet at tea time. After getting stuck in the water tank, the aunt is upset. The trip to Jaguar was not fun for the kids because the tide was high and no one could play in the sand. And Bobby is in a bad mood because his boots are too small. Nicholas is quiet too. He thinks about how the story one the tapestry might end in the wonders if the shooter and his dogs would be able to get away if they left the stab with the wolves.